Hi everyone, welcome to Extraordinary Women of Today, an interview series where we speak to 10 of Singapore's most successful women to find out more about their journey and how they got to where they are today. My name is Tiatan and I'm from The Hidden Good. This morning I have with us Miss Sara Wee, full-time musician and fitness enthusiast, to share with us what goes on behind the scenes in her life, the challenges she's faced, and how she's overcome them to get to where she is today. Thank you for joining us, Sara.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, so I just wanted to start with maybe you could tell us a bit more about yourself, how you got into the music scene and where you started and where it all began.
So what I do is I'm actually a full-time musician. I play about 5 nights a week at regular venues, meaning I don't change every week. So every day is a different place, but I still go back to the same routine every week. I started singing at a really, really young age. Got introduced to music from really, really young because I come from quite a musically inclined family. My dad plays the guitar, he sings at home all the time. So my sister and I both grew up, surrounded by it. When I was in secondary school, doing my O-levels, I kind of realized that this really was not the path I wanted to go down, the academic path. I was doing okay in school, but I just did not find any joy in just studying all the time. And not even just because I'm a student. It's just, I had that epiphany when I was studying for my O-levels. And so I decided that, I would look into different things. I figured there was definitely an option to study music. So there was, and I went to LaSalle, graduated with a diploma in music technology and a degree in jazz vocals. And during my time in LaSalle, I got introduced to a whole bunch of people, musicians who are currently playing the scene, who were playing the scene, and I was introduced to my bandmate, Alvin Khoo. So,
and you met him at LaSalle?
Yes, I met him. No, he wasn't from LaSalle. He was a friend of my classmates. And one day my classmate walked past me and he said, "Hey, my friend needs a singer. You want to do it?" I was like, "Sure." Passed the phone to me. It was Alvin. This is 12 years ago. The rest is history, and we've been playing together ever since. So when I was in school, started gigging full-time, graduated from school, planned to actually go overseas to further my master's, but I was already starting to gig quite a lot then, so it was kind of choosing between the two. So I decided to stay in Singapore and continue gigging, and here.
So it sounds like that time right after your O-level, just making that decision to go into the scene was a really big step for you, but also a really big turning point.
Definitely, and also because parents are usually a bit apprehensive about the traditional path of going to JC, going to uni, and getting that kind of stuff happening for you. But I'm very lucky that I have very supportive parents, and I think they also saw that this is something that I would excel in. And I did.
Something that you're really passionate about.
Yes, and I can do pretty well.
And that's the important part, finding that overlap, something that you're really passionate about and something that you do really well too.
I think so, yeah.
So when you started in the scene, right, what were the kind of challenges you faced breaking into that musical scene?
I think for Alvin and I, when we first started, especially because when we first started, it was just the two of us. Considering the fact that I was a girl who played guitar, it was very, very uncommon way back when, about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. We actually, thankfully, had it pretty easy. I would say we weren't really struggling to find a lot of gigs, solely because of the fact that it was like a novelty thing. Girl playing guitar and singing. It wasn't very common, and also because we were such a small setup, it was just the two of us. We could easily fit into any venue, no problem. I think the biggest issues for us were the fact that most of our venues were usually hotel lobby lounges or restaurants and stuff like that. And you don't really get an audience that's there solely for the music. We're just the background music. But we paid our dues. It really did help that we kind of started from nothing and kept working at it. I think also a big thing for me from the very beginning was that because I was a girl, you have bosses who will try to do stuff, be a bit more friendly than you're more comfortable with.
And how did you handle that?
Alvin. Alvin was my bodyguard. He definitely always was with me no matter the situation. So as long as we're interacting with people, be it clients or just pretty drunk customers.
Yeah.
He was always there with me, so he was always, you know,
Got your back.
he's
right?
got my
Yeah.
back. He was my bro, and but I think beyond just that, it was also like the pressure to always feel like you need to dress a certain way or act a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, I've had people tell me like I should dance or dress in costumes on stage. I'm like, please, do you know what I'm like? You know, it's so not me. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and so how did you really maintain that, you know, that your own, your own integrity in aligning that with the demands of the industry too?
Yeah, I think it helps that because of the kind of music that we play, we're not exactly expected, or I'm not really expected all the time to be a certain way. Like the bosses that we have now are amazing. They don't dictate anything that we do or anything that pertains. Yeah, exactly. With anything pertaining to dressing and whatsoever, as long as we're presentable, they're perfectly fine.
I think now, especially because you've already made a name for yourself, but what about at the beginning? Like, how did you deal with that?
I think a lot of it had to do with just sticking to my guns and making sure that, you know, I don't conform just cause. Of course, you know, like I had one female manager come up to me before and say that, you know, I think you should put on my makeup, because I used to go completely barefaced to gigs. I thought like, you know, I'm still young, you know, it doesn't matter. But I do see the value in that, and I do see the importance in that, because you still want to look your best for anything that you do. It's the same reason why we go out just putting on makeup. So if I put on makeup to go out, why wouldn't I do that for work, you know? So I guess constructive criticism works that way as well, because when we play big shows, you need makeup on your face, light hits too hard, you look like a ghost.
Yeah.
But I think in general, like, behaving a certain way with customers as well. Like, I've been told that I need to sit down with people to drink with them. I'm like, dude, I'm not you know, at that kind of a place. I'm not at, you know, in that kind of a venue. It's not a necessity.
Recognized for your music, right?
Yes. So thankfully, we have been in situations most of the time where people are very, very, very considerate of my feelings as a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think in general also, it's a lot of respect from our clients and our customers. So we're pretty lucky that way. Yeah.
And that's the respect that's also been built up over the years.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so it sounds like, you know, you're also like open to feedback, which I'm hearing, you know, so like constructive criticism, but also taking what works and what works in that situation for you.
I mean, it's definitely tough, you know, when you're younger. Like I started when I was 17. You know, you're just trying to find yourself. I grew up a lot on my own doing this in the industry and figuring things out about myself. And sometimes people come up to you and tell you certain things that you need to be the person to kind of decide for yourself, should I take that seriously or should I not? Like, we've had some people tell me like, you know, you're very boring when you sing. I'm like, okay, I suppose that is, you know, personal preference. But then there's also that other spectrum where people come up to you and say, you know, you sing great, you know, you're doing a great job with the songs, but I think maybe you could be more engaging with the audience. And I would definitely be like, yeah, that's something that I could take. And that's how I learned, because I had some people say like, you know, I don't think you talk enough, or I think you talk too much. So
taking everything with a pinch of salt, but it sounds like you're also very open to hearing the feedback that people have.
I try, yeah, as much as I can. I mean, of course, everybody, at the end of the day, it's always good to have external feedback rather than always keeping it within your circle. Like, your friends will always say, hey, you're great, you did a great job, oh, that was awesome. You know, you need the harsh truth from some people sometimes.
I think with feedback too, there's no really like positive or negative feedback. It's just feedback, right? It's a piece of information and you choose how you want to.
No, which is why I say sometimes you need to take it with a pinch of salt. Like, you have some people come out and say, you guys were great, you know? But then you're like, that was an okay show, I know myself, so yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like defining success on your terms too, and like where you set the bar too.
Definitely. I think if you set the bar too high, sometimes it might drive you a bit insane. But if you know that that's the best that you put out for a certain show, may not have gone as well as you thought it would, but it's a learning step. Like, you know along the way, like, what are the things to do to help improve the situation, then these are the things you kind of pick up along the way.
So earlier on you mentioned more about being, I guess, a woman in kind of a male-dominated scene. Could you tell us more about that, whether it's in the early days or even now? Like, how do you kind of deal with that? Like whether it's the unnecessary and unwanted attention or just how you kind of hold your ground? Because
I get this question a lot. I think now in the industry in Singapore, there are a lot of girls coming up. Actually, it's always been that way. It's just that when we define the term musician, we always think of guys who play the instruments. But like I said, 12 years ago, there weren't many of us who were playing and singing, but now it's like our industry is saturated with girls who do that and are fully amazing, capable musicians.
Yeah.
I think when I first came out, there was still that stigma that girls were only singers or keyboardists. For some reason, everybody thought that. And it was a bit hard to break that barrier sometimes because everybody's expecting you to just be that pretty face on stage.
And they realize, oh, she can actually play an instrument.
Yeah, and I actually once had this uncle come up to me because Maroon 5 Moves Like Jagger, there's that whole whistle intro, right?
Yeah.
So I whistle it all the time. I get off stage, he's right beside me, the table is right beside us, and he's like, girl, why are you whistling? And I literally looked at him and went, I'm sorry, what? And he said, girls shouldn't whistle. It's a boy thing. And I was mind blown,
Did you even know how to respond to that?
I had no idea. I just kind of looked at him and I just walked away. I mean, it sounds a bit rude, but in that situation, how do you even respond to something like that without coming across like, uncle, are you serious? So yeah, I kind of left it.
Because I can whistle.
It's because I can whistle. Yeah. Going back to your initial question about how has it been, like how do I fend off all these problems? I don't know. You just have to be strong about it. I think in general, most girls actually are very confident women, and honestly, the novelty of me being the female singer has worn off like a long time ago. The boys still get a lot of attention from girls, but I don't really get the customers that come up to me and like, can I buy you a drink? Of course it happens once in a while.
Yeah.
But no, I've never really had problems with it. I think also because everybody used to think that Elvin and I were a couple. So that kind of helped with the blocking.
Yeah.
Also because I think a lot of guys are very intimidated by the fact that I come across very strong on stage. I'm a very outspoken, very confident person.
Yeah.
So I think most men are slightly, maybe a bit shy to talk to me. Yeah, so it's not really been an issue.
Do you tend to face more challenges there being a woman?
Actually, no. Clients are always very happy to have a female singer who isn't just singing. But it also helps that in the band, both, they're both guys and girls singing. So I think that's what makes us very easily likable because
and accessible to
it's because you get a mix of both female and male voices. So it really does help a lot. And usually, clients, especially like, for fashion shows or for very big kind of stage kind of shows, they always tend to like to have at least one girl band. So it does help a lot. If you're talking about the musicians alone, the musicians in Singapore are all very, very respectful of each other. I think it helps a lot. So you get the guy musicians also looking out for us sometimes. It helps.
Yeah, so it's like really a community that...
It is, very much so.
Watches out.